he will call the game for Compass Media, Eagles and Buccaneers. And that game, of course, is on Sunday down in Tampa, famous for his Baldy breakdowns on Twitter with the hashtag Baldy breakdowns. It's Brian Baldinger here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Baldy, welcome back, man. How you been?
I'm good. Guys. I've digested, week one. I'm looking forward to week two here and looking at the matchups. Looking forward to being in Tampa on Sunday to watch, the number one offense in football, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, let's start there then. You just brought it up, the number one offense because of the way they played in week number one. I don't know if we think that they can maintain this, but from what you watched of this offense, are there reasons to believe that maybe they can?
Well, they executed well. I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick dropped back 28 times. They didn't put him down on the ground. They barely laid a glove on him the whole game. They protected him well. They took their deep shots. They connected on almost all of them. And that was, that's Mike Evans running up against the great Marshawn Lattimore, beating him clean. And that's Deshaun Jackson getting behind their secondary twice. And that's the second-year player, Chris Godwin, making an unbelievable catch on a back shoulder fade at the pylon. I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick was about as good as you could get in any game that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, he was really, really good. In fact, you tweeted that he was close to perfect with the 158-3, 4 touchdown passes. But his career has been filled with these games, Baldy, where he's looked fantastic. The inconsistency is why that he's typically been a backup quarterback and been kind of a journeyman starter in this league. Was he getting a lot of time? Was he able to kind of see the field, something that the Eagles typically don't allow you to do?
Yeah, well, that's a big key. He got the time. And, on the first touchdown pass to Deshaun Jackson, he had time to look off the free safety and really hold him. And Deshaun Jackson, got behind the corner, and, it was a great throw. He had time. And that's really, I think, if he struggles this week, if there is a struggle from Fitzpatrick, it is going to be because he's just not going to have the time that he had last week. They did a good job dealing with, Jordan Cameron, who's a good player. But really, they really protected. And, the Eagles made Matt Ryan very uncomfortable last week, really affected some key throws in that game, especially down the stretch. And that's what the Eagles do. I mean, they just make things, make quarterbacks uncomfortable the way that they just collapse the pocket from so many different angles. And that's really, if you're a fan, that's what you need to really watch in this game. Does Fitzpatrick have time to set his feet, scan the field, and be able to complete his throws? I doubt he's going to have very much time to do that.
Baldy, you mentioned D. Jackson. He might not be playing this week against the Eagles, but how does the Eagles secondary match up with the Bucs wideouts this week?
Well, they match up well. They don't play as much man-to-man as what New Orleans plays. I mean, New Orleans really feels very good about Crowley and Lattimore. They kind of get in a mustache and really, press at the line of scrimmage. The Eagles don't really play that style. But look, Mike Evans had a good game last week. I mean, he could be an elite player. You don't know what Michael Evans is going to get some weeks, but he could be an elite player. Adam Humphries will be in there. He's a good, quick slot guy. Chris Godwin is a player I believe that everybody should look out for, number 12. I think he's just got the whole package. He doesn't have the speed that Deshaun has, but he's a good route runner. He's got good hands, and he's pretty fearless wherever you put him. So, him and O.J. Howard, I mean, they've got enough weapons to throw to, even if Deshaun doesn't play because of the concussion. So you can't take any part of this offense. This Peyton Barber beat out everybody for the starting running job, and he deserves it. He played very well in the preseason. He played well last week, and you could count on him in pass protection. He was effective in really protecting and helping to protect Fitzpatrick last week.
On the flip side, Tampa's going to be without their top corner, but the Eagles' wide receivers, Baldy, they're banged up too. Do you think we see Doug Peterson dial up some Nick Foles and take more shots down the field with Wallace and Nelson Aguilar?
Well, I think Doug is always going to take his shots. I mean, he's an aggressive coach. He's going to take some shots. Now, we got to see. You're not going to just take shots to take shots. It's going to be against certain looks, in certain parts of the field. I mean, certain things and conditions have to be met to take those shots. But Nick is more than capable. He showed it in the Super Bowl with a touchdown to Alshon and, some of the throws he made, that he could go deep and he can make the throws. The touchdown, of course, to Corey Clement in the back of the end zone, the Super Bowl. I mean, those were big-time throws. So Nick is more than capable of making them. But, it depends on protection. It depends on, how Nick is seeing the field. There's a lot of other conditions besides just throwing it deep. But I believe that they will take some shots for sure.
Yeah, we're talking with Brian Baldinger. He'll call Eagles Buccaneers for the national feed on Compass Media. And, Baldy, I want to get your take because obviously you played the offensive line where Philadelphia is very good, and how that helps their run game and what you saw from their run game against Atlanta and how they could possibly utilize it this week. I'm really interested to see as this season goes on how they much like last year, how are they going to utilize the backs? Who's going to get the most carries? Is it going to be Blunt? Is it going to be Ajayi? Well, Blunt is out the door. Is there a guy that you have a preference, or do you think we will see three guys most of the time and it will vary based on the matchup that they face?
Yeah, no, you've got it right on. I mean, they're a running back by committee, and that's not going to change. They're going to play to player strengths. If Jay Ajayi is running hot, they'll stay with him. But you're going to see Sproles in there. You're going to see Clement. At some point, in some games you'll see Smallwood, if he's active. So you're going to see a committee back there. There's no question about it. Jason Peters was awesome on Thursday night. Just awesome. I mean, he pitched a no-hitter. And it's just remarkable to watch him, come back from a major knee injury and to see how well he wasn't on the ground. I mean, he just played a great game. And so the running game sometimes takes a little bit of time. These guys don't play in preseason. They're not going up against live reps. And sometimes in games, I mean, they've got two really, really good inside linebackers in Levante David and Quan Alexander. And you got to figure a way to get to those guys, whether it's, seal blocking and pulling Kelsey and pulling Brooks or Wisniewski or, toss crack. I mean, they got to get to those guys. You got to get those guys blocked. Otherwise, they're just capable of making all the tackles. So, the scheme sometimes is good. Sometimes the chalkboard on Wednesday doesn't look good on the field on Sunday. And so, Jeff Stoutland, I think, is as good as there is at making these adjustments during games on how they're going to get certain guys blocked. And sometimes it takes more than one game to get the running game unleashed. But it's going to be a good running game before the end of the season.
Baldy, give us your insight on what you see from the Eagles' front four and that D-line and the rotations there. Just how much better can they be? And do you think they have a clear advantage over the Bucs' offensive line this week?
Well, I think they're a lot better. We saw Donovan Smith, who was banged up all preseason, play pretty good at left tackle for him last week. They've got a young guy in Beninock playing right guard out of UCLA. He was a draft pick, and he's young. He's going up. I mean, if he plays right guard, he's going up against Fletcher. And, Fletcher right now, he just feels like he can just be a man-child against anybody he plays against. And he can just toss guys and get off blocks. And he wants to play more snaps than he's playing. The front was dominant on Thursday night against the Falcons. They were dominant to the final throw. But Haloti Ngata makes a difference. He's just not going to move them inside. Chris Long played as well as any game he played in last year. You saw major contributions from everybody. All 8 guys at some point in that game. So, Brandon Graham to come back from that injury and not play in preseason and get out there like he did, I mean, that's really encouraging because I think he's going to get stronger as the season goes on.
Brian Baldinger, who will call Eagles and Buccaneers on the national feed on Compass Media. Use the hashtag BaldyBreakdowns on Twitter to get all of his breakdowns from Sunday. I want to get a couple quick hits from you, Baldy, from your breakdowns. What you see from the Giants, Eli Manning, Saquon Barkley, they got Odell Beckham back. They got some weapons. The quarterback has a pedigree, but do they have the offensive line play to take a step in the right direction, a positive step in the right direction this year?
I think anybody in the offensive line played well. I mean, you can find breakdowns from Eric Flowers all the way over to Nate Solder and everybody in between. They didn't play well up front. I think the quarterback played great. I mean, they missed a chance for an easy touchdown before the half to Odell Beckham. I mean, it should be a layup, and they missed it. Jacksonville is a dominant defensive front. I was down there in Jacksonville during training camp. Doug Marrone put them in pads every day for the first 9 days in a row. Physically, they whipped the Giants. Now, Is that the end of the world for them? No, they can get better. They can get a lot better. They can play better as a group. They can play better individually. And that's what, if they do that, this offense can be dynamic. Just dynamic. The running back is special.
Oh, he's fun to watch. There's no doubt about it. I enjoyed watching him against Jacksonville, which is a very good defensive front. That's a tough game to go up against when your offensive line is average to poor. But I want to flip over to the Rams. A lot of people look at them and thought they had the best offseason, that they, in fact, might be the most talented team in the NFC. Did that play out on Monday night?
Well, it took them a half to get going. They didn't play in the preseason. Most of the starters didn't play. So they needed some time to kind of get warmed up and get back in the rhythm. But they're a talented team, but they're extremely well coached. And if you make a mistake with your eyes on defense against the Rams, it's going to end up being 6 points. And they do so many subtle things to take your eyes off of the ball. I mean, whether it's play action, whether it's subtle movements from wide receivers, like they look like they're run blocking and then they jet out into the route. They do a lot of different things, and it's very difficult to stop that team. They're just tough to stop. So the running back played very well. He really hit the holes hard and fast. And the offensive line is good. They're a talented team. Marcus Peters got his first pick of the season. It took him, to the fourth quarter to get it, but he got it. They could be very, very dangerous. There's no question. They're talented and they're well coached.
Baldy, last one for me here. With Alex Smith and Adrian Peterson turning back the clock last week, looking sharp, should we buy into the Washington Redskins, who, listen, have a very good offensive line over there?
Well, I think they have a very good offensive line. I think they have a top 5 defensive front this week, and they're 8 deep, and they're very good. They're very good. I mean, if they stay healthy, they're going to be a problem for a lot of teams. And what Adrian Peterson did last week was not a fluke. They blocked well up front, but he made Patrick Peterson miss in a hole. He ran through one tackle. He ran like he was extremely determined, and he was tired of the noise about him being washed up. So he ran angry, and he ran hard, and he was effective. And the Redskins are a team that love to have a dominant number 1 running back, and then they'll rotate Chris Thompson in. And when they get that, and the offensive line is healthy, and Trent Williams is healthy, and he's as good as there is, that's a very good group up front.
All right, Brian Baldinger, he'll call the action for Compass Media on the national feed of the Eagles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And that game, of course, you can hear right here on 97.3 ESPN. And use the hashtag Baldy Breakdowns at BaldyNFL on Twitter for all of Brian Baldinger's fantastic analysis of every week in the NFL. Baldy, we always appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
Hey, my pleasure, guys. I'll talk to you soon.